Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Manuel Salazar. I'm the director of the TRIO Student Support Services and TRIO STEM grants here at Mission College. And we are honored today to have with us Lucia Moreno from the Office of Financial Aid. And she's going to speak today with us regarding the Awardspring platform upon which the new Mission College scholarship resides within. So Lucia, please take it away.
Thank you, Manuel. Hi, everyone. I'm glad to be here, and I'm going to do a run through of the process and where to find the link. I'm going to share my screen. It's not too late to apply. It's not too late to begin asking for those letter of recommendations, and I'll go through that. So as you can see on my screen, there's a couple of ways to get to the scholarship application. So at the very top, you see there's these couple tabs. You go to Paying for College, and you can go directly to scholarships. When you click on scholarships, you'll be landing on this page, okay? Which I'll include that there's a lot of different opportunities that are offered. Not all of these are through Mission, but these are also external opportunity, scholarship opportunities that are offered to students at Mission College. What we're going to be talking about today is specifically the Mission College 2023 General Scholarship Application and the new software program under Awardspring, which is really awesome. So you click on the tab and it expands it, and then you can click on either of these two. The deadline is March 15th. Then you click in there and it'll take you here. This video is really great because it kind of gives you a run through of what to do. If you haven't started your application, I highly recommend that you start with that. Just listen in and see if there's anything that kind of stands out, if you have questions on. But it'll just give you an overall understanding of how to log in, but also what the application requires. As you can see here too, this is the button where you would be clicking to start your application, all right? But I do want to go through a couple of things regarding the actual application. So this will highlight some of the general application requirements. In general, any student that is currently at Mission College, whether you are new to Mission for this spring, maybe you were here last fall and this is your second semester, maybe you've been here for several years, and that's perfectly fine. This is for you. Maybe you're not going to be with Mission College no more, but you're going on to that transfer process and you're going to be at a four-year university for the fall. That's also for you. We have a lot of great opportunities that are just waiting for you to apply. So in general, this is going to be the process. We do have lots of scholarships that will indicate what their general requirements are and the specific requirements, and I'll show you in a little bit of more what I'm talking about. And all the general requirements from you is submit your application online, make sure you get one letter of recommendation, and that you are a student at Mission College. That's really it. After that, some of the general eligibility criteria is you do have to have at least a 2.0 GPA. Now, some scholarships will require a GPA a little bit higher, maybe 2.5, 3.5. But again, each scholarship will identify what their requirements are. You do have to have a declared program of study or major at Mission College. What that means is you are saying, hey, I'm attending Mission College and I'm planning to graduate, or I'm planning on receiving a two-year degree or an associate's or a certificate from Mission, and I'm planning to transfer, or I'm going to complete my two-year degree and that's going to be it for me. That's perfectly fine. The reason we like to emphasize this is because if you are taking classes at West Valley, you can take the classes, that's perfectly fine. But if your program of study with admissions and records is a West Valley major, you are not eligible to get a Mission College scholarship. So just want to point that out there. The other thing too is that it does have to be your primary, and you'll understand a little bit more why we do require that it's your primary program of study at Mission College. And there are some scholarships that require for you to have financial need. So whether you apply for the FAFSA or the California Dream Act, this year or next year, of course, we want to make sure that you maximize all the financial aid you can get. But some scholarships do require that you have a financial aid application in the system to determine if you qualify or not. So kind of keep that in mind as well. Each scholarship, again, will have some general criteria, but some of them will be very specific. It'll say STEM, it'll say 3.5 GPA, or only for students that are no longer going to be at Mission, but will be at a four-year university. So just kind of keep that in mind. The review process. So once you submit your application, it goes through a committee. I'm not going to go into too much detail for it, but it is based on all the information that you provided on the application. And your letter of recommendation, really, really, really important. Without this, you will not be eligible. So if you haven't started, or if you don't know who to ask, just kind of take some moment and say, okay, so I have a relationship with any of my professors, any of the instructors here on campus, maybe a counselor, maybe a support staff member from any of the programs that you're involved in. Anybody that knows your academics and can talk highly of you. You want to make sure that they're going to say positive things about you. And the application is, the application again will be incomplete unless you submit a letter of recommendation, and it's actually all done through online. So even if you had a letter of recommendation from the past, you will not be able to upload that. You have to have the recommender's name and email address, because the application will send them a direct, and I'll go through that process in a second. We do recommend that you give your recommender at least 2 weeks, because as you know, a lot of students are doing this process. So right now, no later than this week should be a good time for you to submit that. And we will have some instructions and tips loaded hopefully by the end of the day today. But in general, these are the general tips on that for the letter recommendation. These are some helpful resources. There's an applicant guide that is very similar to the video that will guide you through how to log in, what do you need. And we do have some frequently asked questions. If you're like, well, I submitted my application, or I started, I don't know what to do now. These FAQs will kind of give you an overall, some of the things that I've already kind of talked about. What happens to the process? Can I make changes? Will I get notified? How will I get notified if I'm selected, and when? So kind of keep those things in mind. But if you have any further questions, that I would recommend that you visit the FAQ. Sorry about that. All righty, let me close this. And as well as the listing of scholarships that are available. Now, this one's not available yet, but they are posted on the actual application site, on the Awardspring scholarship application site that you will be submitting. And just as an FYI, you do have an opportunity to preview the essay questions. So a lot of times this helps the students for them to be able to start the essay questions, so that when you start your application, you can just plug it in there because you've already answered them, or it gives you some time to think of what it is that you want to include. In regards to the essay questions, you want to make sure that you answer them honestly, and only include things that you want to make sure that are read and that you feel comfortable with sharing. Keep in mind that it will, your essay questions will be read by a committee. So anything that you don't want to share and that you feel it's a little bit too personal, then don't. Also, if you have questions like, hey, I'm kind of thinking about this, talk to a tutor, talk to your staff. We're more than welcome to read through, give you some guidelines. Or maybe if you have an English instructor or a peer that might be able to give you hey, let's go ahead and just, can you read it and tell me if it makes sense. A lot of the times we get scholarship essays that are very repetitive. You've already mentioned this, so just be concrete, get straight to the point. What are your goals? What is your academic, future career goals, or what do you want to see yourself doing in the future? What have you done with your community? So the more specific examples that you can give, the better. All right. And I will say, do not use any previous essay questions that you've done in the past. We recommend that you start fresh, even though the questions are very similar to what was done in the past, but any repeated essay questions will not be accepted. So just very general, very basic, very easy, I would say. And so I'm going to give you a quick example of what the application looks like. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing for a second and then I'll log back in. And so again, just keep in mind, the more scholarships that you apply, the better. And actually, let me go back. I'm going to share again. When you log into your, when you go to the website, it'll take you here. As a student, as you see in the video, you will be able to log in using your school account, which is the same account as your Mission College portal. So your username, which it would generally be your college email, and then whatever password you've created in the past. So you log in with the same credentials. So fairly easy. Want to keep it straightforward for you guys. Once you log in, you'll be able to see your scholarship application. Okay. Actually, let me go back. Your scholarship application, these are the different scholarships that we have available. Okay, so you'll be able to see this. This will tell you all the different scholarship opportunities that are available and the deadline. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for a second. And I'm going to show you how the testing, or I'm sorry, how the application looks, or what the application looks like. So here, you will start your application. And you're, well, you know what, I'm going to start with the AAPI application. If that's, as soon as you start one application, it will have resubmit application. I'm sorry, this is going to be a little bit more difficult than I thought. Give me 1 second.
And no problem at all, Lucia. The reality is this is precisely why we're doing this session, because we know that this is the first time that students are going to be engaging these platforms, let alone someone from the financial aid office. So
yes,
if in fact someone from the financial aid office is having just a little bit of trouble navigating it, that's precisely why we're having this, to get these inevitable first year bugs out of the way whenever anybody adopts a new platform.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that. Absolutely. Exactly. And there is, and if there's any time that you're like, well, I don't get this, or I'm stuck, or it's telling me that I'm not eligible, that's when you want to make sure that you reach out to one of us or myself specifically and say, hey, I don't understand this. So I'm going to share one more time. Let's see if it works. Okay, perfect. All right. So once you log in, you're going to see the list of all the scholarships. In this case, what I've done is I've selected the Robert W. Bryden Memorial Endowment or Scholarship. So when I click on it, this is where it takes me. Okay. And it's going to tell me these are the qualifications. This is what I need to do in order to see if I qualify for the scholarship. You can do an overview, but as you're filling out your application, you're going to have to answer certain questions. God, and it's not letting me impersonate. One more time. So let me see, why isn't it? Why not? Final test. Impersonate user. All right. All right, here we go. All right, so it'll tell you, if you can see here, my name is Test Welcome. And it's telling me I'm at 42% complete because I've started this application before, but I just never completed it. And it could be just, you know, I started some of the information and I had to leave. So that's the neat thing about this, that you can start the application and then go through it as you can. So as you see here, there's different tabs on your left: general information, your phone number, your name. It'll have your race, it'll have some of the information. Some of these things are already being filtered by your admissions record, okay? And remember at the beginning, I mentioned about your program of study. Whatever the program of study you have with admissions and records is what is being filtered on your application, all right? So going back to your logging in with your Mission College portal, that's tied to your admissions and records information. So your name, your date of birth is already in there along with your program of study. So those things you will not be able to change, but you can update your address. Here I'm going to do Santa Clara counties. Okay. No country. My bad. See, this is what I get for not reading. You select your country, your zip code. All right. And as you go, it'll tell you the questions. Some of the questions, again, are based on what you've already responded. And you go next step. It'll tell you if anything is complete, is incomplete. Okay. Here it's still telling me that it's in progress. It's going to look a little bit different on my end than it will on your end, but your program, I'm doing an Associate of Arts. Again, this information is being filtered by that. Anything right now that you see with an asterisk is required, but it's also being filtered by the admissions. Some of the things that you already have, if you've already completed units, you're going to see things are already being filtered out and applied to your application. All right. So yes, I'm planning to be here for the fall and the spring of next year. I'm going to say I'm a continuing student. Your high school information will already be in there. And as you see here, see how it says academic information completed? That means I've answered all the questions that are required from me. All right. If you see in progress, that means things are not still being filled out. All right. So answer the questions. Don't worry about this. Answer the questions as you know they apply to you. All right. Qualifications. Now, this particular scholarship does require that I answer some additional information. So again, just kind of go in there. I plan to be at Mission College for 9 units. And because I'm specifying that I'm going to be in 9 units, it's going to filter which scholarships I'm eligible for. Okay, so also keep that in mind. If you do not plan on being a full-time student, or maybe you're like, well, you know what, I'm really not so sure. Be as accurate as possible, because again, this will determine what you qualify for. Do you have a DD 214? Doesn't apply to me. No, I'm not a veteran. Am I part of the emoji? I'm going to say yes. Am I attending a 4U? No, 4-year? Yes, but not in the fall, remember, as I answered that I will be attending Mission. Have you completed 2 semesters? Yes. Am I part of the athletic team? No. So as you're going, you're answering these questions. What's happening with the application, it's beginning to filter to which scholarships you may qualify for. Do I have children? I'm going to say no. Have you participated in any leadership positions? I'm going to say yes. Am I an international student? Currently, no. And can I provide a letter of recommendation for some of the leadership? No. Because I haven't been in any leadership experience. So have you had any interest in these? Yeah, I'll say education. All right, if that is of interest to you. And I'm going to go next. All right, and you see, again, my section is completed. And because I had already started this question, now that I've already completed my essay, I can just copy and paste and plug it in there. Or I can just begin by answering the essay questions. And again, you're not going to say you enjoy hiking, but you're going to answer the question to you're going to answer your essay question based on what in this case, your personal statement is, your unique experiences, strengths, potential career goals, and aspirations. This is your time to shine. This is your time to tell us what makes you unique. What have you done? What are you doing? What are your goals? What do you want to do with the career that you're planning, or the major that you're doing in Mission? Maybe you're doing biology because you want to become a nursing and help with the elderly, or help with the young infants, or whatever it may be. So this is your time to put that in there. Maybe what's your goal? Do you want to become a college president? Do you want to become a CEO, or what is it that you aspire to be? All right, so for now, I'm going to put that in there. If awarded a scholarship, how will I help you in achieving those academic goals? How is getting a scholarship helping you to reach that 2-year degree, reach that 4-year degree, transfer to the university? Yes, we understand that it'll help with, financially, right? You can explain how will this, are you low income? Are you why are you most deserving? So put in your mind that there's other students that are also applying, but now it's your time to say, well, I deserve this scholarship because I'm the first in my family to go to college. I am, once I get my degree, I plan to work at a nonprofit or, help those that do not know about college or do not know about the community resources, whatever it may be. So I'm just giving you guys examples. So things like that you want to make sure that you, again, shine on your application. So I'm just going to do help others so that it can let me go through. And then we're going to go next. And it's going to say, yay, I completed. So regarding the letter of recommendation, here, I already kind of was testing this before, but status says completed. This means when I added Lucia Moreno, I put in her name, I put in her email address, and I hit send. All right. And what it did is triggered an email to the recommender. So in this case, it was myself. So what I did is I wrote the letter of recommendation and then I hit send, and now it says it's completed. If you hit send and it sends the email notification to your recommender, on your end, you're gonna see incomplete or in progress. All right, that means your recommender has not completed that letter of recommendation. There is a little button in here. Because right now, again, it says it's been completed, but if it's incomplete, it'll say resend notification. You can actually go in here and say, you know what? I'm going to resend that notification just in case they haven't received it. It's good to do an email directly to your recommender and say, hey, I'm requesting a letter of recommendation. I'll be sending an online link to you so that you can submit it via online. Just give them a heads up. This is how it works. Because a lot of the times I have received some emails from some of the faculty saying like, hey, I haven't received it. Sometimes they go into their spam folder, or they really haven't received it. And you want to make sure that you go back and you double check that email address. Because you can, if you decide, hey, you know what, I'm going to remove Lucia and I'm going to put Manuel in there as my new recommender. You can do that as well. All right. As long as it's not a completed letter of recommendation, you can replace the new recommender. So that's really great, right? Because sometimes, hey, they're not responding, or they responded back, hey, I'm not available to submit a letter of recommendation. Make sure that you have a new person as a follow-up. So it'll say recommended. I'm sorry, it'll say completed. And then your acknowledgments. Your acknowledgments is basically your signature. You're saying, I am authorizing all this information, that I'm submitting it to the best of your knowledge and accuracy. You will not be able to make changes to your application once it's been completed. Now, actually, you will be able to make some changes on it. But keep in mind that if you make any changes to like your major, to your units, to your status, that will then throw the application back again and say, hey, you're no longer eligible for this scholarship because you're no longer a biology major. You're no longer a math student, or now you're a transfer. Now you only qualify for those transfer scholarships. So that's kind of, the downside of that, but it also can be a positive. You're like, you know what, I decided that I did get accepted to that one university. I'm going to transfer out. So that's a good thing as well. So once you do all that, it'll tell you what scholarships you have. Let me do this. What scholarships you will qualify for automatically. And there was a question from a student earlier that said, but I never applied for this scholarship. I just started my application. But what happened is you're basically filling out one general scholarship application, right? And what's happening is one scholarship is filtering out for multiple. So you're not directly applying for them. It's the application saying, hey, we see that you qualify for all these. Let's just put you in there. Okay. So you don't individually apply for them. Then after, as you can see, I have all my components completed. All right. So now that I've completed everything and I've answered my questions, you do have to hit submit. All right. It will not allow you to hit submit if your letter of recommendation is pending. All right. Once it says completed, you need to go back in there and hit complete or submit. Sorry. And then it'll tell you, look, now you're eligible for these scholarship applications. You're eligible to apply. The reason this happens is because these scholarships may have some additional things that I need to answer, which is in this case, the Kevin J. Grismala scholarship requires that I answer another question. All right. So now I need to answer another supporting question for this particular scholarship regarding history importance. So I'm going to say super important, just so that you can see what it is. And now I can submit my application. Now it says now I've qualified for that. So it'll notify you if you have any follow-ups. Now the ASG continuing scholarship, it's saying, hey, you might be eligible for this, but I have to complete the follow-up. I go in here and I'm like, okay, please briefly explain any current or past involvement. I have been a great student. All right, because you guys all have been great students as well. All right. And then I'm going to say submit application. Yay. Now, unfortunately, I can't show you this because I'm impersonating. Well, here you go. So as you can see here, it's telling me I've applied for this one because of my whatever information is in the system already. It's telling me I'm not qualified. All right. If you actually go in here and you see the requirements, you're like, oh, okay, well, now it makes sense. I don't qualify because I'm not a veteran. Okay, I don't qualify for this one because I'm not an international student. So it'll tell you why you do not meet the requirements. But if you have questions on any of them, please reach out and let me know before the March 15th deadline. Again, it's a lot of information, but as you play with or as you go in and you start filling out the components, you'll notice, again, there are a lot of scholarship opportunities. And so far, 1, 2, I see 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, let me see, about 8 or 9 scholarships that it automatically has told me that I qualify for. All right. Again, it's auto filtering a lot of this information. So the more accurate you are, I think the most important thing about this is knowing that some information is coming directly from your admissions application. So if your major is not accurate, again, update your major with admissions and records. All right. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, unless there's anything or any questions in the chat. I'm going to stop impersonating, or I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Anything that you have in mind, Manuel?
No, this was great. Actually, for some background for anyone that is maybe in the TRIO space right now, watching out front or watches the recording of this later. Lucia had come to the Student Services Council approximately a month ago and shared this with the group. The reality is I was excited as soon as I saw this, but I did notice on the front end, it might be a little bit confusing about how to navigate this. And we saw that, right? We experienced that during this presentation ourselves, a little bit of confusion even during this presentation. So we wanted to show students that we really we're expecting those hiccups. So by all means, the TRIO team is here to support any students that are trying to apply and running into any of these small barriers, but also at the very end, I really like that feature because you did not get to show us that during the initial presentation during Student Services Council, where it shows you everything you have already applied for just by filling that out. And it shows you those ones that you didn't apply for, and you can go in there and see why you didn't qualify. That is awesome. That is really awesome. And like I said, when you first came and you presented this, first thing I was thinking, students need to see this. We need to put this in the hands of our students. So because this came up, I was so excited about it. In the timeline of the Mission College application being due so soon, we got this presentation put together. It was kind of last minute, so we didn't get to market it as well as we wanted to. But the information is just so critical. The information is just so pertinent to any student really trying to put themselves out there to earn some of these scholarship dollars. And we encourage everybody to be involved in that process. We encourage everybody to apply. I mean, I don't know how many times we say it over and over. Students tend to disqualify themselves from the scholarship process before they even know how many scholarships are available there, all the qualifying criteria. So no, this was great. Thank you again. We're going to make this recording available to our students, and quite frankly, not just in Trio. I was talking to the EOPS team. We're gonna make that available to them and probably try to expand this out as widely as we can.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys. Yes, definitely don't auto qualify yourself and apply to as many scholarship opportunities because it'll help lessen the burden of money coming out of your pocket and learning how to do a scholarship application. I think this is actually one of the easiest scholarship applications that I've seen, just because it's so basic, so easy, and for any future opportunities that come about your way, especially if you do plan to transfer.
Yes.
All right, thank
On
you.
the topic of letters of recommendations to support your application, Trio students, you know you come to your Trio counselor to get that done. Okay, well, thank you, Lucia.
Thank you, Manuel and Trio.
If students are looking to find you to ask any questions of you, where can they locate you at?
So I'm in the financial aid department over right in front of the Welcome Center. That's where we're housed. You're welcome to swing by during our open office hours. You can also send me an email, lucia.moreno@missioncollege.edu. There's also a general scholarship email that you can also email if you have a couple questions or anything that you need help with, or if you're with your counselor, you're more than welcome to reach out as well, or via Cranium Cafe.
Perfect. Thank you, Lucia. You're the best.
Thank you.